Welcome to the KGL Advisors Minute. Today we're going to teach you the 3 steps to becoming a millionaire. Anybody can do it. The federal government and the state governments will help you, and this is going to be an awesome seminar. I'm Kevin G. Long. I'm the principal broker at KGL Advisors, and let's get started. So first, let's talk about the first step. The first step to becoming a millionaire utilizing real estate is when you buy your first house. First of all, the federal government subsidizes home ownership in the country. We value that, and so we subsidize through FHA and other federal programs the ability for homeowners to get good interest rates with low down payment. And so when you're a first-time home buyer, also states maybe have grant programs where you can get in for zero down. Most people utilize this to get a house they like a little better. It's got 200 more square feet than they otherwise would have got, or they get in a little quicker or whatever, and they start trading up their house. I want you to take a baby step first. I want you, and I'm going to use an example of what I advised my sons. I wasn't smart enough to do this when I was younger, but I advised my sons, buy a townhome, multi-story townhome in a community that allows accessory apartments. Then finish your basement as a 1-bedroom apartment. Rent it out. My sons did this in a very highly appreciating area, and within 5 years, their rent was making their house payment, and they lived there for free. That's step 1. Now, if you have a family, it's maybe a little bit annoying to have somebody else living like I'm living in a duplex. That's not as cool as Johnny. Well, just wait, because in a few years, you're going to be way cooler than Johnny. But when the market dictates, say 7 years have passed or 5 years, or at some point when you're living there for free, you've accumulated enough wealth and enough down payment to go buy your second home. Then go buy your second home. Maybe you have to borrow a HELOC on this one to do it, and rent out the rest of this, keep it, rent it out, and you buy another home that you live in. And this is, maybe it's a little more modest than the rest of the people in your tech company or wherever you're working, right? Because you didn't have the big down payment from your first home that you sold, but that's okay, just hold on. And then you rent your first home, you move into your second home. Now you live in the suburbs, you're on the track to catching up. You're renting, you've got a cash flow vehicle over here, it's cash flowing, pay down your debt, don't spend the money that comes off of it, pay down your debt. And the market within 3 to 5 years will get to a point where you can now trade this townhome that you maybe paid $500,000 for. Now you've got 2 renters in it. It's an investment property. Appreciation is hit. You're at $750,000 of value, and you've paid down your mortgage $100,000. So you have now $350,000 to put on a down payment toward $1 million fourplex. Do that. And there's a section in IRS code called 1031. We refer to it as a 1031 exchange. The IRS will not tax your profits. So you will make on this deal $250,000 in profit. You'll take that tax-free and put it into the next. It's got to be real estate. You leverage up, you buy a $1 million piece of real estate. You manage that for 7 years, 10 years, 5 years. It's going to be dictated by interest rates and appreciation, but you'll get to the point where your $1 million piece of property has appreciated to $1.5 million, and you have, let's say, $500,000 of debt against it because you poured into debt pay down. You take that $1 million and you go buy a $4 million or a $3 million piece of property. Hey, all of a sudden, you're a millionaire and you're 40 years old. Can your other buddy say that lives in a little nicer house than you did? And you're just like 5 years behind him in your house, your personal residence appreciation? And then you do that a couple more times, pretty soon you turn 65, 70 years old. So step 1, right? Let's back up. Step 1, use federal programs and state programs to get into your first home and do it where you can turn it into a duplex. Step 2, 1031 exchange into bigger properties and pay down your debt and 1031 exchange. That's tax code. Step 3 is when you are 65, 70 years old and you're done being a landlord, you're done mowing somebody else's yard or whatever it is, fixing the toilet, it is pain, but but now you've built $5 million of net worth, maybe more, depending on how you've managed the market. You 1031 exchange into a stable, secure, long-term investment. A Starbucks, a CVS pharmacy, a managed apartment complex that you don't manage, somebody else does. But it's long-term, it's stable, and you're there until you pass away. And you live off the steady income in your retirement years. And the reason I say that is there is another section of IRS code that we'll talk about in a webinar we have coming up that allows you to pass on your wealth to your next generation tax-free. No estate tax, just tax-free. The basis moves up. And so all that appreciation from the $500,000 that you initially invested to the $5 million that you've accumulated in wealth that you want to pass on to your children, you pass on tax-free under these codes. We're going to teach you about these 3 steps in a webinar coming up shortly. If you want more information about the webinar or to sign up, go to our website, kgladvisors.com, and look forward to talking to you in detail in our upcoming webinar. Thank you.